Some days we just don't have the mental capacity for a novel. We want to read, but what? How about poetry? If you have not heard of the global phenomenon Rupi Kaur, then please let me introduce you to her and her first book of poetry, Milk and Honey, which is available to enjoy in Cloud Library. Rupi Kaur is now 27 years old, but she's been on the global literary map since she was 23. Born in India, she moved with her family to Canada at the age of 4 and settled in Brampton. Her father worked as a truck driver. When it came time to prepare for post-secondary education, her parents encouraged her to study sciences, yet she resisted. At first, she wanted to study fashion, but eventually she decided to study business at the University of Waterloo. Kaur is a 21st century poet in the truest sense. Originally, she shared her poems as posts on her Instagram and Tumblr accounts. She has over 4 million followers on Instagram, and for many, she is the face of Insta poetry. What's Insta poetry? Good question. It's a style of poetry that has come about thanks to social media. Often the poems are made up of short, direct lines in special fonts, which usually have some illustrations with it. Other well-known Insta poets are Lev Lang, Tyler Knott Gregson, and Robert M. Drake, to name a few. And yes, you can find some of their works on Cloud Library and Hoopla as well. While some people are critical of this literary form, it must be recognized and respected that they're getting people to read poetry again. In 2018, it was noted that 12 out of 20 best-selling poets were Insta poets. Getting back to Rupi's story. In 2014, she decided to self-publish her poems, and she sold 10,000 copies that way. In short time, she was picked up by major publishers, and the book Milk and Honey was printed again to much acclaim. It spent over 52 weeks on various bestseller lists around the world. Milk and Honey is a collection of poems that touch upon themes of love, loss, abuse, violence, and trauma. It also celebrates the unstoppable power of grace, healing, and feminine strength. Some believe that she has struck a chord with many people, especially young women after the election of Donald Trump in 2016 and the Me Too movement. People were looking for messages of self-empowerment, and they found it in her words. Readers and her followers will continue to draw inspiration from her words. As we continue to practice social distancing, and some of us are even journaling and having virtual meetups with friends and family, let's try doing a writing exercise that Rupi would once do with her students. Yes, before her fame, she taught creative writing lessons to high school and college students. She would get them to do list poetry. She would get them to write a list of things they wish they were born with and ask them to write the first 20 things that came to mind, from the physical to the abstract. Then they would share. What a fun way to stay connected. Check out her books today.